So how many miles a day do you reckon you travel when hunting?
Very hard to actually quantify that. I would think that on an average day, the hounds would cover a distance which you would measure in tens of miles. I mean, somewhere between 20 to 50 miles. It very much depends what type of countryside you're actually in. If you're hunting up in, say, the Welsh mountains or in moorland areas, the hares there cover a huge distance. If you're hunting in more enclosed farmland with smaller fields, then you'll probably end up covering not so much during the day. Of course, a lot depends on the scent and how much you're running on during the day anyway. But the hounds, of course, cover far more distance than the people do.
Peter, I understand that the hares actually run in circles.
Yes, nearly always they do. We hope they do, then we can keep up with them. Yes, hares generally run in a circle. It varies in diameter, but I suppose it's about 2 or 3 miles. They start in one particular point and then go left or right. We like to think that we know which way they're going to go, whether they're a left-hand hare or a right-hand hare. So yes, they do run in circles. Apart from after Christmas, when the bucks, the male hares, start courting, and then they might go from one area to another area, and you might get onto a buck hare, which lives 3 or 4 miles away. And he'd say, right, I'm off for home, and he'd just set sail and go straight. And then we do get a run, which is fairly straight. But one thing you must remember, that we always refer to a hare as she. Now, there's quite a lot of conjecture about this point, really. All the old countrymen used to say that a hare is called she because, like a woman, a hare's born to suffer. They live a very hard life, a hare. They live in the open. They haven't got a hole to go down. They live in the wind and rains at them all the time, which is a pretty hard life, just like a woman. So the old men always used to say, she's born to suffer just like a woman. And the other name we often give a hare is puss. Now, the reason she's called puss is because the Latin name for a hare is lepus, and puss is short for that.
Now, I know that Roger is the huntsman today. Can you explain what that means?
That means that the hounds look to me for their guidance. I will be carrying the horn, and when we go out across the fields, I will decide which part of the fields we're going to look first for a hare in. Our terminology is where we'll draw first, and we will decide not only the order of the fields that we will draw in, but we'll make sure that the hounds thoroughly cover all the parts of the field, so that if a hare is sitting tight somewhere, they don't overlook her. Once the hunting itself starts, then you really leave it up to the hounds. And if you've got, as we have here, a cracking pack of hounds, you don't need to hardly touch them. If a fresh hare gets up, then it's up to the huntsman to decide which of the 2 hares that are in front of the hounds is the one that should be hunted. When the hare starts to get tired, they start to use all their guiles to try and outwit the hounds, and then the huntsman can certainly help the hounds. If, for example, the hare is running along, she may sit down, she may then suddenly jump sideways about 10 feet and double back exactly the way she's just come from. Well, that will confuse the hounds, and so the huntsman will help the hounds cast around, trying to pick up the correct direction that the hare has then set off in. But by and large, the huntsman shouldn't have to do an awful lot with the hounds. If you're hunting, say, in mountainous country, then there's no way you can keep up with the hounds anyway, and so you will tend to stand on the tops of the hills and watch the hounds go around you, and you'll only go down to help them when they get into real difficulties. If, for example, they go through a field where there's been a large flock of sheep, they may not cast themselves on forward enough to get beyond where the sheep have foiled the line of the hare. Items like that is when a huntsman would actually come into his own and help them.
And the point where you all gather together to start the day is called the meet. Is it always at a pub like this?
We always meet at a pub on a Saturday morning. So unfortunately, we're working during the week, so whereas a lot of packs of beagles can go out on a Wednesday, for example, we actually can't. We think that it's much nicer to meet at a pub, because then all the members of a family can come along, and the parents can have a quick drink in the pub while the younger ones look at the hounds at the meet. The real aim of it is to make it a nice day out for the family, for everyone who's taking part, and then it just makes a nice start to the day.
Excellent. Well, I know it's almost time to start.